What up, boys? How we feeling? How we feeling, boys? A little late night stream this evening, 10 p.m. And man, I waited. I waited to see if there would be some news today and nothing, man. Like literally nothing. So we're kind of fucked today. But honestly, the streets might be in luck. All my UFC degenerates out there, you might be in luck. Because we're just going to do a Q&A stream instead. Just because, there's nothing to talk about. And I really, no matter how desperate or bleak times are right now, I just will not be speaking about Ali Abdelaziz clapping back at Ilia Topuria through Islam Makhachev's Twitter. We just won't be doing that tonight. We just won't be. So that leaves us with literally nothing to cover. I mean, if you don't believe me, let's take a trip down, Champ Brown's timeline. Champ Brown's isn't the most reliable for all the hard hitting secret MMA news out there. They're pretty mainstream with it, so it is what it is. But I mean, we could look at Red Corner, we could look at Dovey. My boy Dovey. I fuck with Dovey. So just kind of saying. So the face off, a little street interview means nothing. Here's Ali Abdelaziz getting called out for clapping, back for Islam. Today, not him. Yes, it is, homie. It's never Islam. It's just never Islam. Here's their little back and forth. It's like, I don't even care, bro. Like, I mean, we can get into it. Let's get into it, boys. Let's get into it. You know, let us get into it actually, as a matter of fact. Because it's just like this cap thing that goes around. But, I guess it calls into question my narratives. Even though it really doesn't. It really doesn't. But we can look at it, I guess. Um, Ilya says he'll knock out Justin Gaethje in the first round. Hamza says he doesn't care about people calling him an inactive champion. It's like, what am I supposed to say? So that's why I'm saying there's no news today. Ilya says the fight with Islam was very, very close to happening. Quote, hours before the entire White House card was announced, I knew I was going to fight Islam and that the fight was going to be announced. Hours before the announcement, I got a call saying Islam had just gotten injured and that I'd be fighting Justin Gaethje. Again, they're repeating the same narrative over and over and over and over again. Constantly. Here's another quote from the same thing. Ilia Topuria says he went to sleep thinking he was going to fight Islam Makhachev at UFC White House, then woke up to calls saying it's actually going to be Justin Gaethje. Quote, I went to sleep knowing and thinking I was going to fight Islam. Why doesn't Islam want to fight you? Asked the reporter. Ilya says, I don't know. Weird people, strange people, I don't know. So two things Ilya said, and then Islam's manager claps back. We just will not believe that, this came from Islam himself. We just refuse to believe that, even if we're wrong. Ali Abdelaziz's track record supersedes him, so we don't care. And I will show some love to the streets, but let me just get this one out the way so we can speak about the real, topic of the evening, the real pressing headline of the evening, UFC 327 Q&A stream. Who wins, Jiri Prochazka or Carlos Ulberg? I got a couple things to say, so stay tuned. Stay tuned, boys. Let me actually just shout out the streets real quick. Shout out to Tony M for being the first one in here this evening. Shout out to both Tonys. We got both Tonys being the first ones in here this evening. Let's give them a round of applause, everybody. All right, shout out to my boys. Shout out Tony M and Tony Sal. By the way, Tony Sal, sometimes I get like, I worry about calling you my boy because you got a blonde fucking Karen as your profile picture. So it's like, are you that blonde Karen? No offense if you are. Come on, let me troll. Or, are you a male? Are you a man? Can I call you my broski? but it's like, Tony is a man's name. Then you got a blonde Karen as the profile picture. So it throws me off sometimes. I like to shout out my boy, but if you're a girl, I should probably know that, right? I don't want to mischaracterize. But yeah, drop in, Nick Diaz emojis, hooded Dober emojis, let the better man win. Shout out Got You. What's poppin', Scott Snyder? What up, bro? Yuri taking back his belt this weekend. I'm rocking with Yuri. Tony says, I'm a bro. Okay, thank you, Tony. Just got to make sure, I always thought you were a bro, but just the profile picture, it does throw me off. I'd be lying if I said it didn't. So now that we got that out of the way, I'll never second guess calling you my broski. What's crazy, Kev saying? I don't know. I haven't blocked. He's like the only person I found insufferable enough to actually block. I just found him so insufferable. Maiko says Tati versus Loopy will be a good scrap too. Let me know how it goes, Mike. Just let me know how it goes. I won't be watching it. Michael Beal, Yuri by KO in round 3 should be minus 1,500. I mean, should it? Because Yuri's track record with the kickboxers isn't the best. Speaking of Alex Pereira, Carlos Ulberg, he comes from the cloth of an Izzy, so to speak. They were surrounded by each other. Izzy's obviously the better kickboxer. Izzy got a win over Pereira. Carlos Ulberg comes from that, type of tutelage. So, actually, I think it could be a tough stylistic matchup for Jiri Prochazka, but I think he got enough in the tank to get the dub. I'm banking on the fact that Carlos Ulberg is going to be a bit of a head case in there. He's going to be second guessing himself. He's going to be a little bit, gun shy. I'm banking on things like this. Who has the championship medal going into this fight? Jiri Prochazka. So I'm kind of banking on Carlos Ulberg feeling that championship medal. 5 rounds. We all know, right, how badly Jiri Prochazka dogged out Khalil Roundtree in the 3rd. Dogged him out. Bad, bro. Bad. Worse than Pereira, in my opinion. I mean, this dude dogged him the fuck out. And, Prochazka got 5 rounds now. So, at any point in time, he could dog out Ulberg, and then, the fight's Prochazka's from there. Once Prochazka goes Ultra Instinct, the fight is over with. Now, I just kind of spoiled all that. I was really supposed to save that, but fuck it. Fuck it. I'm sure I'll have more to say. I'll give you guys that now. I'm sure I'll have more to say in a little bit. Islam and Hamzat love to hold the belt. Yeah, bro. Tony, MSA, and Yuri. Tony goes, that's someone I was beefing with. You feel me? I feel you, homie. Trolling them by making them your profile picture. Not a bad move. Thought this was Wonder Boy LMAO. I always think from afar it looks more like Bryce Mitchell than it does Drew Dober. From afar, to me, it looks like Bryce Mitchell. Hooded Dober for the win, though, for real, for real. For real, for real. It's a bit of an inside joke. If you get the hood, then you get the hood. If you don't get the hood, don't bother yourself with it. But, spoiler. Homie be knocking out all the brothers. So, we gave him the white hood as a troll. Space Kid, what's poppin', homie? Ulberg got a rep for City Kickboxing. Yeah, but we'll see. Yuri by accident. Something like that. Something like that, Brain Dead Hawk. Something along those lines. Michael Beal says, I'm just going to say it. Carlos Ulberg is barely even that good. He's a bit one-dimensional. Like, he's got 0 takedowns. He got 0 submissions probably. He only banking on his striking. And that's kind of annoying to see. Prochazka, he got it all. He could take you down. He could strike with you on the feet. He could submit you. So, multiple ways to finish Ulberg for Prochazka. Ulberg can only knock out Prochazka. Hot take. That's a hot take, Michael Beal. I'm not going to lie. I'm not ready to co-sign that take. I think Ulberg is pretty good, But just to kind of side with you a little bit, yeah, Ulberg's a bit one dimensional, and that kind of makes you like, right? It's mixed martial arts. If you're not mixing the martial arts and you're just banking on your striking, I mean, you feel me? Probably not going to be the best fighter in the world, right? Tuxedo Mask, thank you for the $2 dono, homie. Did Buckley give you the hall pass? If you're asking if I have the pass, I don't have the pass, homie. I don't have the pass. I never asked for it either. But shout out Tux, thank you for the $2 dono. In Hawaii, they do be having the pass though, whether people give it to them or not. They say it pretty often in Hawaii. Otto says, yo, what up, man? I hope you're having a great one out there, and I hope everybody else too, but for real, hope it's going good. Shout out to Otto. Thank you, homie. We having a good day. Carlos Ulberg is mad decent. Okay, all right, that's fair. That's kind of fair, honestly. I see what you're saying, so I feel you. Mad decent is not a bad way to characterize him. Okay, so before we get started, or let me just finish up this Islam Makhachev thing, but before I even continue with anything, just make sure you like the stream, boys. Make sure you run up the likes on the stream. We want 25 on the evening. And subscribe if you're not subscribed, okay? 90-day live stream streak. We in the 40-day range right now, so we got about 50 more to go, give or take. We about halfway there. Not even really keeping count of the exact days yet because it doesn't matter, bro. Until we're like, 10 days out, we just locked in going live every day. No point in, seeing how many more pages in the chapter left I gotta read. You feel me? Loving the donos tonight. Space Kid, it's like, oh my God, where did this come from Tux? Anyway, Tux saying, do you say the word? Of course I don't say the word, homie. Who the fuck would I say the word to? I live in a predominantly white area, so there's no need for me to be saying the word, on any occasion. Now, if I was like a Mexican from the hood, right, they kind of say it, but it's like, that ain't me. So I don't really say it. Or I mean, I don't say it. There's no reason to. You got Jiri, right? I got Jiri. Yeah, I got Jiri, Jaden. I got Jiri. Okay, so going back to this, though, here's Islam's response. Sorry for the delay on this one, but fuck it. It's barely news anyway. I'm just telling you guys the story if you didn't hear about it. Space Kid says to your homies, nah, bro. We all a bunch of like, well, I'm not really a white boy. I guess I kind of am, but they all white boys. So, I mean, it's the last thing we trying to say. The New Age white boys, however, that's a different story. The New Age white boys is a different story. 1 second. Yeah, the New Age white boys, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I be walking around Laguna Beach, so to speak, and them New Age white boys in their daddy's whip, they be singing rap songs, dropping the N-word. No cap, no cap. The New Age white boys, they different. Luckily, I'm not one of the New Age white boys. Tuxedo says, I'm white, I'm not from the hood. I say it, no pass. I mean, Tuxedo, that's all you, homie. That's all you. I got nothing to say. I mean, it ain't my place to speak, homie. But shout out to Tuxedo. Tuxedo, one of these New Age white boys. I'm telling you, these New Age white boys are different. I spoke about it to Joaquin. Me and Joaquin spoke on this. These New Age white boys like Tux, they a bit different. They a bit progressive. I don't, it ain't my duty. You could start it off in your area. I think the New Age white boys are already ahead of me. Anyway, here's what Islam said, shout out to Tuxedo for the funny ass fucking topic. Anyway, Islam Makhachev, aka Ali Abdelaziz, he said this, I'm tired of hearing made up stories from Ilia and his team. I got the call and accepted the fight at the White House, which is now cap, bro. You didn't get the call and accept the fight because apparently you were sleeping before you could say yes, right? So what is it? Now we got same X account, right? call, like, what the fuck's going on here? It's actually not the same X account. Ali made this statement about Islam not getting the chance to answer the offer because he was asleep. He was waiting for him to wake up to call him back. And he said that on TMZ, Ali Abdelaziz himself. Now Islam, aka Ali, is saying he got the call and accepted the fight at the White House. The next day, he was told he asked for an unrealistic purse. So it's like either Ali Abdelaziz is actually forgetting his lies now, right? Or I don't know. Ali is lying and Islam's telling the truth. I don't know, but that's the two options. The next day, I was told he asked for an unrealistic purse. Again, just bullshit. It's just bullshit. No amount of money is unrealistic for Ilia to fight the number one pound for pound guy. Pound for pound number one, pound for pound number two active two division champions. You fucking pull out the Brinks truck. I don't want to hear nothing about he asked for an unrealistic purse. That's dog shit. That's dog shit. UFC declined and he pulled out. It's like, so how do you pull out and then the UFC declines it? Like, well, I mean, I guess the UFC said no. And then, so they're saying that the UFC said no to the money and said, do you want to take it or not? And Ilia said no. And I mean, even if that is the case, the onus is on the UFC for not paying him. You don't put a fighter in a shit ass position, a legacy fight, and offer him pennies on the dollar for a legacy fucking fight, the biggest fight you could ever make, right? You do not make him take pennies on the dollar and then blame him. He did what's right by him, and he turned down the purse, whether or not the UFC declined it or just came back and said, Gaethje's your guy. But the crux of this story is still the same. Ilia asked for more money. The UFC did not want to pay it. Okay. And they came back and they said, no more Islam. We'll give you Gaethje. The crux of the story is still here. So I don't know why everyone's still bitching. Nobody ducked anybody. But this is the problem with the UFC, telling Islam that, oh, Ilia ducked you because he asked for more money, so to speak. And then the UFC telling Ilia that Islam turned it down because he's injured. It's all a cover up for them, the UFC, not to admit that they don't want to pay the money. Just understand that. Get that through your skulls. These guys are repeating the same little roundabout story every time, and it's like the crux is still the same. I can even explain to you why Islam's saying what he's saying and Ilia saying what he's saying, and why the truth is still the truth, and why neither fighter is really claiming that. Right? This is what the UFC wants. It's called a big old smoke screen, bro. And 90% of people are biting on this smoke screen. There's no point in continuing the confusion and reposting this shit. It's just like pathetic, bro. Give it a rest. Tony says, I'm Mexican and I say it. My high school was like 90% Mexican, so the blacks couldn't really say anything about it. I feel you. This turning into a fucking crazy ass stream, boys. Shit, if you say it, you say it. I'm not pressed. I actually didn't necessarily even care to know, but I mean, it's fine. You guys can share that with me. You guys can pretty much share anything with me. Jew says, what up? What's poppin', Jew? Islami full of heavy air. The UFC sits on a throne of lies, not pressed or impressed. I'm not pressed about it, What you boys say in your private time, is what you guys say in your private time. Jew says, punking. Oh my God, you guys are getting crazy in this bitch. Not that Jew's saying anything too crazy, but it's like, oh my gosh. It's like, we don't... Punking black dudes over the word is crazy, LOL. It's like, yeah. No need. Just leave it the fuck alone, If you say it, you say it. It's probably because of where you're from, unless you're tuxedo fucking mask, all right? Unless you're tuxedo mask, you one of these new age white boys. But shit, if you say it, you say it's probably, a reflection of where you're from. Unless you're a new age white boy. That's all I really got to say about it. Mike Co says own it. Damn, shout out to Hawk in this bitch. Hawk changed his name to Brain Dead Hawk, so it took me a second to remember that this is the high school homie. Hawk says, yo, I just wanted to say thank you for being the best UFC YouTuber. You helped me pass my classes too. Thank you for the advice. Damn, homie. Shout out to you. I'm glad that you passed your classes. I'm glad that my advice helped. And, you know, no worries. Thank you for the cosign as the best UFC YouTuber, homie. I love it. You know, that means a lot. Always, whenever I hear that from you guys, you know, big confidence boost. So thank you. Thank you, Hawk. Shout out to the fucking high school homie Hawk. You know, we fuck with the homie. Or no. Patricia says, give me 3 goats, mister. 3 goats? Oh man, that's a good one. We got to put McGregor up in there just because, man. Just because. Just because. I know. No title defenses and shit, but we got to put McGregor up in that bitch. I'd probably go like my 3 goats. I probably got to go like, nah, you know what? I'm going to take Conor out of it. And I know that he made a lot of money and let me give you 4 goats. Damn, Hawk says, when I get a job, I'll start donating in the chat. I promise. Shout out to Hawk. Thank you, homie. You know, no sweat. No sweat. You'll donate when you donate, homie, but good luck in the job search. Hopefully you get something good. You know, restaurants as a high school graduate, not a bad hustle, Hawk. That's what I used to run. So maybe consider that, unless you got a better idea. If you got a better idea, go for that one. I'll give you 4 goats, you know, because I think Ilia is better than Conor if we take away the money. You know, take away the money, Ilia is better than fucking Conor. But Conor, you know, he built up the hype and he made the dollars. So, and he got the biggest selling fights of all time. So let me put Conor and Ilia in the same type of like 3 slot, if you will, and I'll go Anderson Silva and John Jones above that. You know, John Jones, he is a 2 division champion. Anderson Silva had the longest, you know, reigning title defense streak of all time. No one's beat it, right? No one's beat that. No one's beat Anderson Silva's title defense streak. So, yeah, I would say those 4. You know, John Jones, I know he got the steroids, but I don't, you know, GSP, nah, bro, nah. Not my goat. I'm sorry, but GSP not my goat. GSP not my fucking goat. That's my 4. I'll give you 3 to 4 goats. You know, Conor, Anderson Silva, John Jones, Ilia Topuria is right up in there too. Islam Makhachev, it's like, you know, you don't get to beat Renato Moicano, 45-pound Volk twice. Dustin Poirier and be one of the goats. No. Ilia Topuria is one of the goats because of who he fucking beat, you know? Volk knocked out, Holloway knocked out, Oliveira knocked out. You don't see a rise like that ever. Oh, Spacey goes, Habib, bro, barely bled. Nah, Habib's one of the goats too, but it's just like too premature. That's what I would say, Space Kid. Too premature. But you know, there's another question, you know, who are the best fighters of all time? That's a whole nother question, you know. I feel like if we go about goats, it's like, do I gotta factor in like box office sales? Like, you guys let me know. You want me to tell you the most skilled, hardest to beat fighters of all time? Because Conor's not in that mix, right? Conor's not in that mix. It would probably be along the lines of like John Jones, you know, maybe even a GSP. You know, maybe even a GSP over an Anderson Silva. I still kind of want to put Silva in that bitch, though. You know, John Jones, GSP, Silva, Habib. You know, those would be the most dominant. Habib undefeated, retired. John Jones undefeated, retired. You know, Ilia's making his mark. For damn sure, Ilia's making his mark. And it's like, is Ilia not better than Habib as it stands? He's a 2 division champion. He knocked off 3 of the fucking goats. Not real goats, but you guys feel me. You guys feel me. Let me speak in hyperbole. I fuck with Don Fry, tough as shit. Yeah, shout out to Don Fry. Um. So yeah, if I was saying most skilled guys, I think I'd go like Anderson Silva, John Jones, Habib, GSP, Ilia Topuria. Can we say Marab though? He was on a crazy run before Jan. Yeah, that's another. That's another one. That's another one. Space Kid. That's another one. But here's what I'll say, Space Kid. If the list is like extended to 5 or 6, Marab's gonna be in there. But I just feel like Marab being in a lighter weight class, it kind of works against him, right? You got Ilya who be knocking dudes out. You got John Jones, light heavyweight and heavyweight champion. You know, Anderson Silva, middleweight champion, GSP welterweight. So it was a bit more notoriety. And I would say that unfortunately for Marab, the one thing that kind of works against him, it ain't nothing he can control, but it's two things actually. It's his weight class and the fact that he's a decision machine, right? It's those two things. I'm not arguing that Marab isn't one of the, best fighters we've seen to grace the octagon, because he kind of is, bro. Massive win streak. I mean, the list goes on with that guy. But, he doesn't finish guys. Only O'Malley speaks to how bad fucking O'Malley is. But he doesn't really finish guys, and he's a lighter weight class. So it's no hate on him, but if he had some finishes, it might work in his favor. But no finishes, being in a lighter weight class, he's one of the GOATs, but I'm not going to prop him above a GSP, an Anderson Silva, an Ilia Topuria. You feel me? Didn't DJ break Anderson's title defense record? Oh yeah. DJ too. I think so, right? I was asking you guys. I was like, did Anderson's record get broken or not? So if someone can confirm that, I clearly don't know off the top of my head. I'm admitting such right now. Patricia says Mark Coleman, Don Fry, and Dan the best. Oh, and Dan the Beast. He definitely would have had a better chance if he took time off. Marab probably would have beat Peter if he took the time off. He finishes guys. Marab doesn't finish guys. Didn't DJ? Yeah, I think DJ did break Anderson Silva's title defense record. Let's see. Who has the all-time title defense record in UFC? Demetrius. Okay, so 11 and 10. And then GSP got 9. John Jones got 8. So Demetrius is one of the GOATs too, man. He's one of the GOATs. It's just that the lighter weight classes, they get overlooked. He's one of the GOATs in a bigger list. John Jones would not last one round with Coleman. Is that so? Is that so? Islam will be the GOAT when he makes Topuria tap out in Italy. They're going to fight in Italy or what? Finish over Sean was surprising. So yeah, I did kind of give you guys my thoughts on Jiri versus Ulberg, but curious to hear, what do you guys think about Jiri versus Ulberg? Who we rocking with? We could do a poll. We could definitely run a poll. Okay, here's what we'll do. We'll do a poll. And then I mean, clearly the UFC is saving Topuria final dance in Italy. When Islam ruins his life by tapping him out. Ruthless Robbie Lawler. He one of the GOATs. Robbie was a beast in his time. How the fuck you root against Jiri? Yeah, come on. Everyone finna pick Jiri, aren't they? I would also say, boys, that let's do a so here's what we'll do. We'll open it up. UFC 327 Q&A, boys. You know, if you could ask some questions, I will see them and I will isolate them. So I know that you guys be doing it in the chat anyway, and it's pretty much fine. But if you got a real question, drop it in the UFC 327 Q&A. Because if you don't have anything, spoiler alert, this is such a slow news day. Okay, we've been live for 40 plus days. We have not even done a stream that's been sub 1 hour. This might be the one. It's just like there's nothing to really dive into. It's Monday, you know, fight week's just getting started. Embedded don't got shit. There's nothing, bro. There's absolutely nothing. Biggest thing to talk about is like Prochazka, you know, taking this fight with his daughter on the way. Like, trust me. Who should pop the pimple next? Uh, got no clue what you're saying, homie. But everybody, make sure you like the stream and make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed, all right? If you're new in the chat and you're enjoying the stream, make sure you subscribe, homies. I'd love to have you guys subscribed. My least favorite champion was Jamal Hill. Are we going least favorite champions? That would be a good topic. Oh, and I think because the stream will be so short, it'll probably just be members only. Just so we're clear. You know, this stream will probably just be members only when it's all said and done. But Connor had better striking than Ilia, and I die on that hill. Okay, Hawk. All right, Hawk. We're talking prime Connor versus prime Ilia striking only. That's pretty tough, Hawk. It's pretty tough. Honestly, not that I just want to agree with you, homie, but it's like I never really considered it. And off the back, you know, I mean, let's hear it. Do people disagree with that? Because I kind of want to agree with that. I remember Connor. I lived through Connor in his prime. All right, I've lived through Ilia in his prime. We're living through it as we speak. The one thing that I would say is a big difference is Ilia's ability to grapple, right? I think the ability to grapple helped him knock out Charles Oliveira. Without it, you know, it could be a bit tougher for him to find the knockouts. But the thing about Connor is Connor never needed wrestling to get the knockout. You feel me? Connor was a very good striker. He definitely didn't need wrestling to get the knockout. Not that Ilia does either. You know, Ilia didn't need wrestling to knock out Volk. He didn't need wrestling to knock out Max Holloway, but he did use it, right, to surprise Oliveira early in the first round of their fight before he knocked him out. So that kind of like sucks that I'm using that against Ilia, that he was well-rounded, but we're speaking about striking only. And you know, that's a pretty hot take. It's a pretty good take. Pretty hot take, pretty good take. Connor had better striking than Ilia. Honestly, it's a good take. I like that take. Man, imagine seeing Ilia versus Connor in their primes. The featherweight kings. Oh, Patricia says Patty Pimple. What did you ask? Who's next for the pimple? Who should pop the pimple next? Either Max Holloway or Renato Moicano. Max Holloway or Renato. Or Arman. You know, or Arman. I'm over the saving. You know, yeah, Arman beats Patty, and so what that he does? Why are we saving that from happening? It needs to happen. The sport needs to progress. So I'd say Arman, Max Holloway, good options. Buyer Seller goes, well, I guess that's why you have brained it in your username. So Buyer Seller doesn't agree. But then Biosolar goes, TBH, Connor seems more speed. Ilia seems more power in the strike for sure. I would say Ilia packs a bit more power in the punches, yes. Connor always said, timing beats speed, precision beats power. So Connor, he more timing and precision. BSD for Patty? Okay. It's kind of more of an even fight, but whatever. That's fine, Tony. Yeah, let's give him BSD. But BSD coming off a win over Dan Hooker, so kind of like, I don't know, BSD versus Armon, something like that. Holloway versus Patty. How does that sound? Biocelli says, I see Ilya evading and landing strikes where I can see Ilya stunning Connor with a heavy hit. I don't know who would win. I'd have to watch the footage of their fights. Yeah. I've never really kind of compared the two of them. That's a very, I mean, Hawk, shout out to you, homie. That's the best chat of the day for sure. Hawk gets credit for best chat of the day. For me, shout out to Hawk because I don't know if you were in here, homie, but previously I had the best topic because I was saying Nate Diaz better than his brother Nick, and nobody can stand for that. I still think that topic actually that hot take right there trumps yours, Hawk, but yours is second best and it's the best of the night. But the who's better, Nate Diaz or Nick Diaz, is a hot fucking debate right now. That's a hot debate. But shout out to Hawk. He can fucking spit out a good take. I got to give credit where it's due. As you guys can tell, I respect a good take. There's few things I respect more than a good take. You guys should know that I'm a take guy. Not Tate. I'm a take guy. I got to hear your takes. That's why when I get Kevin from Chicago on this bitch, I say, what's your hottest take about the UFC? Like, what do you think about it? I'm dying to know what people think. So yeah, buyer seller says, or no, Jew says Connor more goated. Connor's more goated, but give him some time. Maybe Ilya will pass him up. He got to get some pay-per-view records though. Brandon Hawk says, Ilya wouldn't even be able to get past Connor's front arm. And Ilya's biggest weakness are kicks, and Connor loved using his kicks for distance. That's true. The problem is if we start, it's an odd one because if we just go boxing, it's a storyline in itself, right? Connor versus Ilya boxing. That's the most fair way to kind of do it, in my opinion, to gauge it. Because if we start saying Connor can kick Ilya, well, then it's like, well, then can Ilya take down Connor? Right? So it's like, I get the whole striking thing. We are speaking about striking, but it's like, yeah, it's tough. Striking does involve kicks, so maybe I'm, being too sensitive, but I'm just saying. I think if you allow Connor to use kicks on Ilya, then you gotta question, like, can Ilya fucking take his ass down then? Tony says, I'd say BSD one of my favorites right now, but yes, Armand versus BSD would be interesting. It would be interesting. I think Armand takes it, but Hawk says, dude, if we saw those 5 years off for Nick, it would be easier to tell, but as it is, I think it's low-key a tie. Okay, Hawk. I got you, homie. I've been saying that take for like 2 streams, so I mean, I could give it to you raw, Hawk. You want it raw dogged? No Diddy? It's like, Nick Diaz, he literally has as many losses as he has wins in the UFC. Okay, that's for starters. Homie got as many losses as he got wins in the UFC. Okay, Nate Diaz won the bigger fight. Nate Diaz made more money. Nate Diaz beat more former champions. Okay, Nick Diaz lost to Bionic Leg Anderson Silva in his second UFC stint. Right? He lost to Robbie Lawler in his retirement fight. That could never be fucking Nate Diaz ever in life, bro. Ever in life. Nick Diaz is so fucking washed because he got into drugs and it ruined his career. But it's like, we have to factor that in because Nate is still actively competing. And in my opinion, Nate's just the fucking go over Nick. It's clear as day. Nick even admitted as much that when Nate beat Connor, he had to leave Stockton because the notoriety became too big. So who elevated Nick's fame, right? Past his fighting career? His little bro. Now I know, shout out to Jew. I know there's no Nate without Nick. All right, I know the stories. I know the storylines, but trust me, bro. Nate's better than his brother Nick. And I didn't even touch on his first UFC stint. Okay, but let's finish off the second UFC stint. Losing to Condit. And I'm just saying, if like I think Nick got robbed against Condit too. But it's like we talk about Nick as if he's the fucking GOAT. And like you couldn't even dominate a Carlos Condit. It just kind of there's cause for pause, boys. There's cause for pause. Now, if we go into the first UFC stint, losing to Diego Sanchez, losing to Tim Welsh's homie, Joe Riggs, if I'm not mistaken. It's like again, Nate could never. Nate could never. But yeah, Nick's 10 or 7-7 in the UFC. You see? Lost to GSP, Silva, Robbie Lawler, Condit. It's just Sean Shirk, Joe Riggs, Diego Sanchez. It's just a lot for me. It's a lot for me. And I don't know why it's so hard for people to admit that Nate's better than his big bro. It's usually how it works, bro. The younger one's better. Who's the best basketball player? Okay, shout out to the Ball brothers. You got LaMelo Ball, you got Lonzo Ball, and you got Jello. I think that's his name, right? I don't even know the other one's name. The third one who's like a rapper, right? You got the three Ball brothers. Who's the best one? LaMelo, bro. LaMelo's the best, but without LaVar, no, that's the dad, right? You got LaMelo. Without Lonzo, there's no LaMelo. But it's like, yeah, shit. Without Lonzo, there's no LaMelo. But shit, LaMelo's the best, bro. LaMelo Ball is the best, homies. And it's the same thing with Nate. Like, yeah, without Nick, there's no Nate. But shit, Nate's the best. Space Kid says, damn, you're onto something, huh? It's like, bro, I got these points locked in now. We've been doing this for like 3 streams straight. And people still make it a 50-50. So to Braindead Hawk's point, it is kind of a tie because we didn't settle it officially. The streets voted 50-50. But in my opinion, come debate that. Come debate that. Even Hawk says, right? I just changed Hawk's mind. He goes, you right. Nate's super underrated. And honestly, it's like a disrespect to Nate. In my humble opinion, it's like we should put more respect on Nate's name. Like, why aren't we respecting Nate like this? Nick versus Robbie was kind of embarrassing to watch. Agreed. Totally agree. Hawk says, no, come on. Kicks are 100% part of striking. No, I feel you. I feel you. I'll leave it alone. I'll give that to you. You got Gamrot or Rebovix? Man, I want to see Rebovix in the top 10. I got Gamrot. I don't think Rebovix is that good, Tony. We'll see. Let's see what he can do against Gamrot. Gamrot's an elite wrestler. Nate doing slow motion ice bass. He knows who breads his butter. What the hell? What does that even mean, Unbroken? Not the Ball brothers. Shout out to the Ball brothers. I've been seeing a lot of LaMelo on my explore page, and I fuck with LaMelo. LaMelo kind of funny, low key. I mean, he high key funny. He actually not low key funny. He high key funny. Their dad is a loon. He lost his fucking leg to diabetes. That's insane. So did Deion Sanders. Like, what the fuck? My only argument is we didn't see a lot of Nick's prime. Fair enough, Hawk. Fair enough. But, 2 stints, it's like, are we really going to pick and choose that? Homie had 2 stints, Hawk. He had 2 stints. And honestly, for whatever type of time he was in his career, okay, for him to lose to Bionic Leg Anderson Silva is a disgrace, bro. It's a disgrace. In my humble opinion. You know, like, because it's like we didn't get to see Nick in his prime. Okay, I'll give you that point. But then, so when Nick fought Anderson Silva, who was more past their prime? Who had a fucking shattered leg and had a steel rod in between that shin bone? And then who won that fight? So it's like, I don't even like the argument necessarily that Nick was past his prime. That's the first time I heard it. So shout out to Hawk for dropping it in there. But it's like, Nick and not being in his prime. So what? Anderson Silva was in his prime. Like, the matchups were still winnable for him, is kind of my take on it. Right? It's not like Nick was past his prime and washed when he fought Carlos Condit. It was an equal fight. It was prime versus prime pretty much. GSP2, the narratives were never that Nick is too old, to be honest. And even in his first stint, why is he losing to Diego Sanchez, fucking Sean Shirk, and Joe Riggs? Why is that happening? Now, I feel like I might be disrespecting Sean Shirk just because, like, he was pretty accoladed. I saw his record; it was like 30-2 when he fought Nick. But still, bro. Then why isn't Sean Shirk the GOAT? Why is Nick the GOAT? You know what I mean? Like, Nick is this master at teaching people how to win fights, except one big glaring problem. Nick never won the big fights. Nate did. Nick never won the big fights. Nate did. And I'm sorry to Red Pill, but tell me I'm wrong. Nick was bashing JDM, right? Nick was bashing JDM, saying like, oh, he should have done this. I was so pissed off, blah, blah, blah. Nick, you've done that to people a million times over as well throughout your UFC career. We were all pissed off when you're laying on the floor against Anderson Silva, afraid to fucking press him. We were all pissed off when you couldn't get up off the floor when GSP was taking you down at will. Same thing happened to you against GSP, homie. Same thing happened to you against Diego Sanchez, but you didn't fix it over the course of a decade. Boom, fast forward from Diego Sanchez to GSP, same shit happening to you. Nah, come on, Diego Sanchez, a G. I mean, I saw the funniest thing on my timeline today. Diego Sanchez promoting a drink to help him get sober, and then he holding his pit bull dog. Diego Sanchez looks like he's sitting on a fucking outside a grocery store on a wall somewhere. Okay, holding his pit bull, right, with the drink in hand, the little sponsorship. And then it's about sobriety and shouting out this drink company for helping him get sober. And then Nick Diaz comments, he goes, "Can I pet the dog?" Oh, I died at that shit. But yeah, I mean, Diego Sanchez a G, but again, we're getting it all twisted. Diego's cool. GSP takes everybody down. No, I know, but so does Islam not take everybody down? And was Nick not critical of JDM getting taken down by Islam? But Nick is the same guy who got wrestled for the whole 25 minutes against GSP. That's all I'm saying, Space Kid. That helped prove my point. Yes, GSP takes everybody down, just like Islam, and that's why I said what I said. Because Nick needs to look himself in the mirror instead of going off on JDM, and remember that the same thing happened to him. If it's so easy to get up, then why didn't you do that against GSP? And if you got all the secrets to how to win fights, then why didn't you win the big ones? Tony says, if it goes to wrestling, which I believe it will, Gamrot takes it, but man, I'm rooting for Rebovix. For sure, Tony. I'll think about you if Rebovix gets that dub. Patricia says, Nate fixing to make 10 million. Yeah. People take their pit bulls way too seriously. Okay, Hawk, I'll disagree with you on that one. Hawk goes, I don't know if you saw my hot take earlier, but Yair Rodriguez beats Ilia Topuria on the feet 1,000%. Easy. Now, once Ilia takes him down, that's where he loses. Damn, it's like I just tried to disagree with Hawk, but as it plays out in my head, it's like that would be a tough fucking puzzle to get past. Yair Rodriguez with his spamming of the kicks and the punches, real spazzy. You know, it would be tough. It would be tough for Ilia. If Jai Herbert can drop Ilia with the head kick, I mean Yair definitely can. And worse are people dropped Ilia on the regional scene with head kicks too. Nick is JDM's GOAT too, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Nick is JDM's GOAT. Hawk says Ilya moved up too early. It did surprise me at the time. It did surprise me at the time, Ilya's move up. I was like not expecting that at all. UFC Freedom 250 should pay $250,000 bonuses, should they? Damn, nobody dropping anything in the UFC 327 Q&A. Okay, we'll just end that. Since nobody wants to partake in it, that's fine. We're partaking in it in the chat right now. But, you know, that's pretty much, you know, run up the likes on the stream one more time, boys. Forgive me for the short stream. Okay, forgive me for the short stream. I would have liked to do a longer stream. I had the energy for it today, but it's like there's nothing. There's nothing. There's nothing. So you guys got to bear with me on that one. Just bear with me on that one. My hair's looking, it looks like my hairline's receding the way my hair is sitting right now, doesn't it? But no, we need to clear that up right now. There ain't no recession on this hairline. Although it does look like there's a bald spot right there, but it ain't no bald spot, bro. It ain't no bald spot. We chilling. Did I just dox myself for a bald spot I didn't even know I had? No, there's no shot. There's no shot. But I don't know what's going on right here. Whatever, bro. Let's just leave my hair the fuck alone. Well, I don't know why I zeroed in on it. We need to clear that up right now. Shout out to Space Kid. We got to clear that up. We got the hairline. We got the hairline on lock. You know, let's just clear that up right now. Can't be the stream. Space Kid. It might be, homie. It might be. You know, it's like I don't even mind answering questions, but there's not. You guys don't even got anything. Not that you guys aren't being interesting. I appreciate everybody dropping in the chat, but I'm saying like almost trying to back you guys up. Like you guys don't even got anything really to ask me. You know, because you know we got nothing to really talk about. But you guys have had some good things to speak about. It's been good topics. I just fear that we're running out of things to kind of like run by me. So before it gets stale, I'm trying to like, you know, find my way out this bitch, if that makes sense, rather than like making it go stale and then being like, all right, guys, I'll dip now. I asked about Reyes versus Walker, but I just rejoined. I don't know if you talked about it. No, I didn't talk about it. Buyer seller. I'm leaving anyways. Got to wake up tomorrow. Okay. Well, I was just about to talk about it, but I guess I won't. No, I'm playing. I could talk about it. Reyes versus Walker. Battle of the Glass Chins, is it not? Dominic Reyes, Johnny Walker. Let's go through the card. Let's go through the card. Boys, let's go through the card. Why did it take so long for the calf kicks to become deadly? I don't know, Unbroken. It took a minute, though. Tony says his neighbor hasn't been acting up lately, huh? No, she hasn't, bro. It's 10:54 and nothing. Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it. Buyer seller says I'll stick around. Okay, shout out to buyer seller. What's the best defense to a calf kick now? I asked before. Oh, you either pull it or you put the shin into it. Same type of thing. You pull it or you put the shin into it. Pull the leg back or you angle the shin towards the calf kick and you go shin on shin. Drew goes, what about AI2A admitting he's the gay sus homie? I know, right? Now AI2A is not in this bitch. How crazy is that? Saw the gay sus homie at the gym today as well. Moicano beats everyone but Charles, Islam, Topuria, and Gamera. LOL. Moicano pretty good still. He still got it in him. Okay, so let's go through this card. Gene Silva versus Ilia would have been peak 2. Gene Silva beats Diego 9 times out of 10. He's just sold. Yeah, Gene does beat Diego 9 out of 10. I agree with you, Hawk. What I said, what happens to if who loses? Does Reyes hang it up? If he loses, buyer seller. I would say that yeah, if Reyes loses, hang it up, hang it up. And if Johnny Walker loses, it's just par for the course. He probably still got a couple bad knockouts left in him, you know. So Johnny Walker, win or lose, he can continue. But Dominic Reyes, I mean, you gotta retire at some point. I know he had that whole sad story. It is what it is. Everybody got a sad story. Pole is better, says Hawk. Yeah, polling is better. Going shin to shin just means 50-50 damage. People think that going shin to shin is like if you checked it, then it didn't hurt. Not checking it hurts, bro. Okay, let's watch and Jacob can react. I'm about to react right now. Johnny Worm Walker. You look like a young Marco Rubio. Shout out to Wick's son. Are you sure I don't look like a young Robert Downey Jr.? Or are you sure I don't look like Brandon Moreno? Or are you sure I don't look like if Paulo Costa and Brandon Moreno had a baby? Those are like the 3 that I've gotten the most. Buyer seller goes LMAO. A couple bad knockouts left in him. Crazy. Homie, am I telling a lie though? It's like they both glass chins. What up? What's poppin', JP Money? Okay, so let me go through this. You know, it'll be a quick one, and then we'll hop on off of here. Big card, UFC 327. Let's get into it. Charles Radke, Francisco Prado. Shout out to Chuck Buffalo, however you say his name. Wixon goes, I get the Robert Downey Jr. 2 TBH. Yeah, that's a big one. A lot of people say that. It's probably one of the most common. By the way, Wixon, Flukas would knock you out. Who the fuck is Flukas? Okay, anyway, shout out to Wixon. Make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed. Kelvin Gastelum, Vicente Luque. I'm going to go Kelvin. But this is at 185. Why the fuck's Vicente moving up to 85? I'm going to go Kelvin, though. Wasn't Vicente supposed to fight somebody else? Yeah, the Kyle Dawkins fight got pulled for Bo Nickel. Markel Maderos versus Chris Padilla. Chris Taco Padilla. Oh, Lucas Tracy. Bro, I would literally knock Lucas Tracy the fuck out, Wixon. And that's no cap. We've already kind of been through this on the stream. You're new here, but like I mog Lucas Tracy. If you're familiar with some of the new age lingo, which I'm sure you are, I frame mog Lucas Tracy twice on Sunday. So Lucas Tracy, I mean, I don't got nothing against him, but you guys are starting this beef right now. Wick's son's coming in here saying he would knock me out. 100% guaranteed that dude wouldn't knock me out. I think that like this is why I want to run a fade. It's like boys. We just need to put in perspective and let me run a real fade. Because a lot of you guys got this whole thing twisted. A lot of you guys got this whole thing twisted. You guys got this whole thing twisted. I don't want to like glaze myself up. I just rather you guys see me stack up against someone. That's really what I want you guys to see, right? Y'all are like the same frame. Space Kid, there's barely anybody who got the same frame as me, but you guys don't understand that until you see it. Like, I sound like I'm glazing myself up. Let's run it, bro. Let's run it. I mean, like, so you're 5'7", I'm 6 foot, and that's not even like the biggest dude in the world. Like, I'm not, but I'm like, I can't, it's annoying to say, but it's like, I mean, you guys should know the deal by now. You guys should know the deal by now. Like, put me next up to like all these YouTubers. The only one who's really size-wise up there with me is the Guru. Guru size-wise, he up there with me. Aside from that, like I can promise you guys. I can literally promise you guys. Like I'm mogging everybody. Honestly, I put all my money on you knocking back the other 2 teeth on Chi, but Flukas would be tough. MMA Chi. I don't know MMA Chi. You versus MMA Chi versus Lucas Tracy free for all. It's like, yeah, I know Lucas Tracy, but I don't know Chi. Now we're on some fades. It's like, but you know who I really want to fade? And you guys already know this, but Wixon doesn't know this. Wixon, I've been calling out, okay, Martin the Spartan Sano for weeks on end now. Now, there's nothing I can really do for it because it's like, I don't know. I just don't even got the clout really for it, I don't think. And it's like, I don't know. I don't know. But I don't know what to do. You know, I'm at a loss for words. All I could do is come on this platform and call him out. You know, Space Kid says, nah, Guru's huge. Okay, so now you're starting to get it, Space Kid. What am I, small? Space Kid, what am I then? I'm small? Okay, Space Kid. Space Kid, I could go to the grocery store right now, okay? Let me not even finish that thought because it's too much of glazing myself, but I'm just trying to put it into perspective for you guys. I could go to the gym right now, okay? You'd be pressed to find somebody, okay, who's mogging me. We could go to the gym right now. Any time of the day, you would be pressed to find somebody who mogs me. So it's like, I don't know what to say. Like, for anybody to say anybody mogs me, it's like, probably not. Probably not. And that's why I just want you guys to see it stack up in person. You guys would probably feel bad for the opponent. To put it in perspective, you know, it's like, you know, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. It's like, look at Paulo Costa, right? Okay, then. So if you guys think Paulo Costa is this crazy dude, then I just got one question. Then what am I? If Paulo Costa is this crazy big dude who be mogging people, then I just want to know, then what am I? I just want to know, then what am I? Space Kid goes, I thought you were just the average male with a crazy body with that one pic you showed. I mean, we're getting Diddy and it's all good. No worries. But no, I would say that I'm above average. I would say that if you take a shredded average dude and you put me next to him, I would mog him. You know, that's what I would say. Put an average shredded dude next to me and I would mog him. Take an average shredded dude next to me. Okay? I mean, it happens all the time at the gym. Okay? When I go do the pump check in the gym, there ain't nobody who got a bigger pump check than me going on at the time. You guys are fucking making me glaze myself too hard. It's crazy. Yo, this will be peak MMA Chi versus you. Who the fuck is MMA Chi? Hawk says MMA Chi used to be my favorite MMA YouTuber till I started watching your streams and I don't watch him no more. Shout out to Hawk. Thinking again says Prime for Prime, Nick was better. He was a skinny dude fighting much bigger opponents in an era when everybody was on super steroids. Nate's Prime was fighting lightweights under USADA testing. Thinking again, then what about Rory McDonald? What about Dong Young Kim? Okay, what about these fights at 170 as a lightweight? Thinking again, did you forget about that or like, no offense, thinking again, but it's like most of Nate's losses are from moving up to 170. Space Kiss says, nah, that's tough. It's, you know, but I'd rather not say it. You know, I don't even like saying it. It's just like, I just want you guys to see it, to see the perspective. You know, put me, let me just say it for the one time, right? Put me next to, you know, the ginger fuck who I despise, right? Who always on some hate and shit. Put me next to him. Okay. You guys, there would be a whole nother conversation. You guys, it would be night and day difference. I'm sure that guy got like some skinny fat on him. I don't got that shit. And that's probably the last thing I'm gonna say about it. But put me up against, you know, my arch rival. And we will see. We will see. We will see. Okay, let me get into this card and then let's wrap this stuff up. Kelvin versus Vicente. I'm going with Kelvin. Markel Medeiros versus Chris Padilla. Let's see. You know, Markel Medeiros, he seems to be a decent prospect. Chris Padilla, he 4-0 in the UFC. Markel Medeiros 3-0 in the UFC. They both cooking. They both cooking in the UFC. So, It's actually a pretty good fight right here. Chris versus Markel Medeiros. I'm a rock with Chris Padilla just off the strength. I did an interview with Homie after his last fight. Homie from Gardena. Would you mog Marvin Vittori? That fool's 6 foot, buff as shit. Um, Marvin and me out of camp. Marvin might mog me because I think he gets well above 200, and I don't really get well above 200. But frame wise, you know, now that's the answer. Is Marvin outside of a fight camp? He probably mogs me because he gets well above 200, and I don't get well above 200. You know, I'm around like max before I go to bed like 205 if I ate like crazy throughout the day. But usually I'm going to bed around like 200, 198, something like that. But again, let's just shit, boys. We just gotta run it. We just gotta run it. All right, we gotta run it. You versus Bukharov. Let's make that happen. Who's Bukharov? Okay. Tatiana Suarez, Lupi Godinez. Come on now. Skip. Gamrot versus Esteban Ribovics. Esteban, he's always in like some good fights, but I don't see the skill level being there for him. So I'm gonna go Gamrot. Hopefully Gamrot can show that there's levels. Ribovics, he's a good fighter, but to be honest with you, he's just kind of good at going through the motions. Like what he does out there is just put on a show. It's not like he really like he's just fighting. He's not really trying to get a win or concerning himself with the score of the fight. It's like, is the fight going well? Are we having a bloodbath? Okay, let me continue. Let me continue taking one to give one. It's not the type of style I like. I know a lot of people, including I think Tony, is big on Esteban, but it's like it's just not the style I like. I don't like a guy who takes one to give one and kind of throws winning out the fucking window, right? Because of that one fight with Zellhuber at Noche UFC, he got a lot of cosign for that, and then ever since, they've been glazing him up for having these wars. Don't you ever fast? Um, Sometimes I fast unbroken. I like to run, something along the lines of like stop eating at 8 p.m. and then I'll eat again at 10 a.m. So a full 12 hours of not eat or no, a full 14 hours of not eating. 8 p.m. to 10 a.m. is a good fasting window in my experience. But I would say that, if you're counting calories, you don't really have to fast. So there's two ways to achieve it. Kevin Holland, Randy Brown. I hate to say this, bro. I hate to say this, but these are the fights that Randy loses. That's what I'll say. I know Randy, and I want Randy to win. But when they become a bit high profile for Randy, he tends to lose. Look at his last fight. Gets knocked out by Gabriel Bonfim in the main event of a UFC Apex card. It's just like, nobody saw it coming. Brian Battle loses to him. The list goes on. So Randy, Spacey goes, damn, every time I think about eating, I eat. Yeah. I mean, I do that as well. Right now, I'm not counting calories, or well, today I am. I just go back and forth, kind of. I go between, kind of like doing whatever I want, and then I'm like, okay, I've done whatever I want for a little bit. Time to like lock in. So I'm kind of locking back in now. Today I'm counting the calories, but over the past few weeks, ever since my mom was in town and left, I haven't really been counting calories or fasting. I just be eating when I want to. Space Kid. The hardest time for me to stop eating is after stream. I be munching. I be munching. Okay. So yeah, Randy versus Kevin. That's my thoughts. And a Pitbull versus Aaron Pico. Aaron Pico better win this one, but I don't know. I just don't know because Pitbull, former Bellator champion, Aaron Pico was never. You versus Guru eating competition. That'd be good. You guys don't know. I could put it down. I could put it down. Hawk says you finally met your match. Yeah, probably. I probably did meet my match when it comes to the eating competition. But no diss on Guru there. I could eat a lot of food too. And I would never shame somebody for being able to eat a lot of food. I think, that's chill. I'm not gonna be fat shaming Guru, so uh Guru, a big dude, bigger than me, he could probably eat a lot of food. I also can eat a lot of food. We should do an eating contest. Why not? We need to do some collabs, boys. Go spam it in fucking Guru's chat. Be like, yo, go do some content with Perry Punch. Homie and you are the same. Low key. What's up with Tyra? He moved to Strickland card co-main now. Yeah, what's up with him? He Joshua Van got injured or something. Undisclosed injury. Some good matchups this weekend, says Maiko. Yeah. So, Pitbull versus Aaron Pico, it's actually pretty good. Holland versus Randy Brown, it's actually pretty good. These are all 50-50 matchups. Gamera versus Ribovics are good matchups. They're kind of like 50-50. There's some stake on the line. Markel Maderos versus Chris Padilla. That's some good shit. Space Kid goes, I want to see you get out there and collab would be so fire. We'll eventually get there. We'll get there, Space Kid. It just takes a bit, takes a little bit. But I think once we finally start to get the cosigns, it's off and running. We just gotta get the cosigns. But eventually I think I'll catch on. We just need to get some fans, It's hard to explain, but I gotta usher in my own crop of fans, right, to get people to kind of listen more. So you guys are that crop of viewers for me that you guys are going to influence more people to watch me. That's what I'm kind of trying to say. But you got to acquire a viewership first. And then that viewership will help kind of push you to the other streamers, but I got to keep building you guys up. Guru took a minute, before he became more mainstream, so I ain't tripping. But it's like, yeah, Guru, if you mention me to him, he's probably gonna be like, oh no, I don't know who that is. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like homie gatekeeping, like you know exactly, who I am, homie. We've been circling in the same waters for years. You mean to tell me you never seen one clip of mine from a Joaquin Buckley interview? Never in your life? Right? You never saw the N-word comments about Sean Strickland and Buckley? Come on now. You didn't see Buckley calling Izzy gay? You didn't see Buckley calling fucking Michael Morales gay? I mean, the list goes on. That's right up his alley. Anyway, enough about that. Cub Swanson, Nate Landwehr. Eh. Good fight. Good fight. Dominic Reyes, Johnny Walker. Oh boy. Oh boy, I gotta get off. You guys could go fishing together. No, I know. I know. I know. One day. What's the ceiling for Tyra? Champ material? Question mark. Yeah, he could be a champ. Unbroken. If he takes down Joshua Van, he could beat him. Dominic Reyes, Johnny Walker. I'm gonna pick Johnny Walker. Curtis Blades, Josh Hockett. Curtis Blades gonna show Josh Hockett there's levels to this shit. Curtis Blades getting Josh Hockett out of there in emphatic fashion. Probably a knockout. Probably a knockout. Osmont Mersakanov versus Paulo Costa. Let's go Mersakanov. I don't know. Prochazka versus Carlos Ulberg. We're going Prochazka. Sorry, boys. I'm just tired. I'm just getting a bit tired. Hawk says, W stream as always. I'm going to call it a night. Good night. Good night, Hawk. Peace out, homie. Good to see you in here. Glad to hear you passed high school. And yeah, I'm going to get off too in a minute. Yes, basically it says they def CEO stuff. Same with rappers. They only care when you up. Yeah, that's the thing. You know, he wants to benefit a little bit from having me on too, which I get it. You know, I get it. I get it. But I think that he's kind of shooting himself in the foot. Like that's something I won't do. Once I'm more mainstream, like I'm gonna use my platform to like, you know, interview some more up and coming guys. I think that's the way to do it. You know, I think that gatekeeping is kind of not the best. Like I wouldn't run it that way. I wouldn't run it that way. If I see potential in somebody, I would have them on. But it's all good. Everybody different. Okay, so you know that's the card. I'm gonna hop off stream. Shout out to all the boys who watched. No news today. I apologize, but shit, I've been live for an hour and 18 minutes. It was more than I thought I would do. I feel like this stream should kind of go members only. Should kind of go members only. I don't know. I don't know what I should do. I'll decide it, but you know, if it does go members only, the only person to blame is yourself for not tuning in while I was live. All right. So shout out to all the boys. Maybe I'll make it members only in the morning. Who knows? Maybe I won't make it members only at all. Oh, Myko says, would love another Lorenz Larkin interview at some point. Okay, you know what? Let me get a Lorenz Larkin interview cooking for you, Myko. Let's get him on for the MVP card. I'll reach out to him. Hopefully he responds. He should. Been a minute since we spoke. Spacey goes, but you know what they say? That's what they always say. That is what they always say. They always do say that. How is he passing high school in April? Unbroken, I had the same question for you. Not for you, Unbroken, but I had the same question for him. I couldn't answer that. Hawk, if you still in here, how the fuck you graduating in April, homie? Anyway, I'm just here. I'm just glad to hear that Hawk is graduating. Myko goes, much appreciated. No, Hawk. Don't you dare thank me. That I deserve a thank you. Because, you know, I would like you guys to request more interviews, you know? Request some interview guests. For sure. Let me know who you guys want to hear from and I'll try to get them on. So thank you, Hawk. All right, boys. Peace out. I'll see you guys later. See you guys tomorrow. Sorry for the lackadaisical stream. We did our best today. Hopefully going live is better than no live. Hour and 20 minutes is better than no hour and 20 minutes. All right, boys. Peace out. Thanks for watching. Oh, let me shout out the streets real quick. I'll end this poll too. 75% of people say Prochazka. Okay, so peace out to Unbroken. Peace out, Myko. Peace out, Tony M. Peace out, Space Kid. Peace out, Hawk. Peace out to Tony Sal. Peace out to Jew. Peace out, Perfecto. Peace out to Otto. Peace out, JP Money. Peace out to Thinking Again. Peace out, Wickson. Hopefully you subscribed, homie. You will enjoy the streams. Shout out to all the new boys in here. I saw some new boys. Shout out to Yo, my name is Deshaun. Trying to find some of the new boys too. Oh yeah, shout out to Patricia. Subscribe, homie. Or homegirl. I'm not sure. Shout out Myko. I think I already said it though. Okay, I pretty much shouted out everybody. Oh, shout out to Eric. Shout out to Eric. Good to see you, homie. Shout out to Buyer Seller. Good to see you in here, homie. All right, boys. Peace out. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Thank you for watching. You know, hopefully, let's pray for some good news for tomorrow, boys. Peace out.